Welcome to another episode of the Fanzone Podcast, your home for all things Bolton Wanderers, up the Trotters, the Northwest's #1 podcast.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Fanzone Podcast. Tonight, you're joined by, of course, myself and Chris. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening.
Good evening. As we look forward to our game against Stevenage. And for the eagle-eyed amongst you, you'll also notice that Matt Farley is also joining us from the Stevenage FC Podcast. Matt, how are you this evening, my friends?
Look, chaps, it's an absolute pleasure to join you both. Thanks for having me on the platform. I think if someone would have said to me 2 years ago that I would be joining a Bolton Wanderers podcast platform and we were, in the race for the League One playoffs, I never would have believed you. So, look, it's great to be here. Massive apologies, I'm in the car at the minute. I'm out for a birthday celebration, but still here, still on. Looking forward to the chat.
That's it. You got to do what you got to do, man. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Matt's got beers going flat at the minute because he's out in the motor doing this with us. So absolute respect for the dedication.
Just before we get going, I'll obviously pay reference to the people in the chat already, getting pretty active. So thank you very much for joining us. There's a good 20 people watching across the platforms already. So thank you very much for that. And just to kind of put your mind at rest, kind of, Matt, we've got a comment in already from Philicon who said, literally bricking it for tomorrow. So,
Same here.
Yeah, so even though we are Bolton Wanderers and we are playing little Stevenage, as you're often referred to, the Bolton fans are bricking it, as Philicon's just said. So yeah, keep your comments coming in the chat. Obviously, we'll bring as many as we can to view. As you all know, generally the preview shows last around half an hour, but we'll be happy to delve into your comments. So please like, subscribe, and all that stuff. That'd be greatly appreciated. And let's get into the preview. So, as we've touched upon already, tomorrow afternoon we play Stevenage as we attempt to close that gap on Derby County. Stevenage have got their own situation occurring down in the lower echelons of the league as they try to fight their way into the playoffs, closing the gap on Oxford United. Chris, as we head into tomorrow's fixture, what are your thoughts ahead of the game, please?
You know what? I'm just glad to have football back after the international break. Even though it's not been, the most sort of enamoring of experiences across the last few weeks, I've missed it a lot. I didn't realise how much I would miss it, and I've missed it a lot. So I'm really looking forward to it. It is a massive game. A result is needed, and it ain't going to be easy. I think the fact that Steve Evans has been renamed Steve Bloody Evans this season, which is respect to him because, he's frustrated the hell out of a lot of the big teams in League One this season with his fist pumping antics and look what he's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As Matt said, he's got Stevenage on the brink of the playoffs. What a phenomenal achievement. Like him or not, like him, loathe him, whatever, he's played a blinder. So let's put some respect on the guy's name. However, that goes out the window tomorrow because I expect a right big Bolton performance tomorrow. Let's have it.
Absolutely. Matt, obviously you've mentioned already that it's a big game for Stevenage Football Club in general, regardless of the situation that you guys find yourself in. Obviously done phenomenally well so far this season. And let's be honest, I think if the season ended right now, you'd be absolutely over the moon. There's absolutely no doubt about that, I would have thought. But obviously, going into tomorrow, knowing where you guys are at the moment, but also knowing where you're at in terms of recent form, and obviously the draw that you managed to get at Carlisle. What are all you Stevenage fans thinking ahead of tomorrow's game? And obviously, I suspect it'll be a decent crowd as well. I'm sure you're all pretty excited for it.
Yeah, look, first of all, it's unbelievable to be in this position that we're in. And, I think, well, especially for me as a Stevenage Football Club supporter, I think, and, supporting this team, it was all about staying up for us. And again, we're kind of celebrating the fact that we're a League One team next season. It's like, yes, we, sustain the level, which, was the challenge. But, the team, we've got the manager, we've got the winners, and they want to be up the top of any league to play. And that's the mindset. And, yeah, it's a humongous game for us tomorrow because, not just the fact that we're playing yourselves, massive club, and you're up in third, but we're in a League One playoff race. We've got 7 cup finals to go. So, we're right in the mix. If we can get a win tomorrow, I think we'll go on to do the playoffs. I think a win or a point is a fantastic result for us. But at the same time, if the result doesn't go our way tomorrow, we've still got games, we've still got winnable games, and we can still do it. And the others are playing tricky games as well tomorrow. So, look, at home, good chance for us. We've got some players returning this week that have missed the last couple of games. Big Steve isn't there on the touchline tomorrow because he's been given another game suspension. So that'll be left to Alex Revell and Paul Rayner, which is no problem. But no, look, we're feeling positive. The players have had a really good week on the training pitch. And look, if you want to go and make the League One playoffs, these are the games that you get results in. So, we're going to it full of confidence tomorrow.
We'll touch upon your score prediction later on in the show. But we've had a comment in from Radix Lectine. I'm certainly inclined to agree with this, and I think it might be quite nice for you to see as well. So obviously Stevenage are in the position they are on merit. Let's not underestimate them, lads. And no definitely that is the case. Before we move on further with the episode, we do have a special mention or something that we want to kind of get.
Yeah. No, go for it, mate. Yeah, it's kind of following on really from the tough sleep last week. So again, thanks to everybody who contributed. We're up to just shy of 1,700 quid. I think the total for the whole thing is about 25 grand. Those amazing charities. So there is another it's a massive event for Bolton Wanderers in the community, and I think we've got a bit of a video that Ben's done, Cole. Is that right?
Yeah. So Ben's got a little message for you all.
If you want to raise some money for some incredible causes, then keep listening. Thanks to the wonderful team over at Bolton Wanderers in the community, they've given us a nice little code that will reduce the price of a sign-up from £26 to £20 for their upcoming 10k run fundraiser. Now, the event registration closes in just 3 days' time, so you'll have to be quick. But if you head over to their website and use code Fanzone, you'll get yourself a nice little discount and you can raise some money for some incredible causes, for some incredible people right here in Bolton. If you want to make a difference, then get involved.
So we'll be whacking the link to that in across our socials, but another massive event for Bolton Wanderers in the community. You do some amazing work. I tell you, it's
phenomenal
stuff. Unreal. They just don't stop. So we'll get that posted. So just conscious of time for Matt and his beer going flat. So
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Matt, whilst we play the next mid-draw, I want you to have a little think about your season so far. Maybe cast your mind back to that last game that we played yourselves up at the Reebok or Tough Sheet, which was a 3-2 victory for Bolton Wanderers, although a rather tight one. But yeah, your season so far, please, Matt. So exactly what it says on the tin, really, Matt. I mean, a little think about your season. I mean, it's been, from the outside looking in and looking at Stevenage's football club, absolutely fantastic season. And I'm sure you're all ecstatic with it. But can you give us a bit of an insight into kind of how season has become what it is, obviously, is it all on Steve Evans and his nous? Not all ordinarily always tactical, but certainly I am an advocate of him myself personally, how he diverts the attention away from his players and protects them at all costs and makes Stevenage the underdog, which I think you play up to very well. But can you give us a bit of an insight into how you've found yourself in this position, please?
Yeah, look, it's really simple with us. We had that incredible automatic promotion last season where we finished runners-up in second place, and we came up to League One. And, the plans for League One started with Steve pretty soon after promotion. Actually, on the day of promotion, he was already speaking to player agents for next season in League One. And it was a case of, do we come up to League One and keep that squad and be competitive, but probably not do the things we're doing? But knowing Steve wants to win any league, any competition he's in. And he knew that if we upgraded the team and brought, some players at this level that have been competing up the top end of the division, like your Nathan Thompson, Louis Thompson, Ben Thompson, Nick Freeman, those League One level players, Dan Butler, playoff players, that with the style we've got and the original players that could make the step up, we could be competitive. And that's what we did. We brought those players in. We kept the same style. So the style was basically exactly the same as what it was last season, but it's just better this season because we've got better players. And, with us, it's all about momentum. We had a great pre-season, great start to the season. If you get those things right, you're on to the winner. And that's exactly what we did. We had a great pre-season. We won our opening 3 matches, and then, bosh, you're underway. And it's been a truly magnificent season. I think for the first 5 months, teams struggled to get our style, and we picked up a lot of points in those first 5 months. At one point, we were top of the league for 2 weekends in a row. I remember when we beat Leyton Orient away 3-0 in September, we went top, and then we were top the weekend later. So what we did so well is we started so well in those opening 5 months, got loads of points in the bag, lost a few games, 3 to 4 matches within that time. And it kind of set our season up. I think recently teams have got a little bit more used to the style, but still they find it difficult when we're on our day. To have 17 wins in the bag, 11 draws as well, 28 results from 39. It's really magnificent, and we've seemed to continue up, that on it. Obviously, we've had help with big goal Reedy, Jamie Reid, who has chipped in with 17 or 18 goals, won us about 10 to 12 points. So that's been a big factor as well. I think he scored 2 in the return fixture at your place. Really good, cracking striker. And look, we're here on merit. So it's been an unbelievable season. Again, we've had some brilliant moments, brilliant wins, but I think most of all, it's been unbelievable to see the team pretty much in the top 6 the whole season. It's the first time we've been out the top 6 in the last kind of week or so. So that's our season in a nutshell. And we're very proud to be here.
You've touched upon, you mentioned then in your explanation of how well you've done this season, your formation and the way you play. Now, obviously there's a perception, isn't there, with Steve Evans and how you guys supposedly play football. Can you give us a bit of an insight into kind of what that looks like? I'm obviously we've had the preview. I was on your preview show, Matt, the other day, and we had a conversation about that. And I remember vividly, you wasn't just a long ball team. That yes, you played the percentages. Yes, you got amongst it and played them diagonals and so forth. But can you give us a bit of an insight into kind of what we can expect tomorrow from a tactical standpoint, please, Matt?
Yeah, of course. Look, we are what we are. We're relatively a direct side. We like to get the ball forward early, and then we play in those final third positions with your Jordan Roberts, etc. We're very strong from set pieces, but we know how to play football as well. And we've had this kind of thing over our head this season that we're a long ball physical side. But I've seen some brilliant performances of football. I remember when we played at your place and played some really good stuff that night. I remember when we beat Derby at home 3-1. Could have been more that day. Brilliant, beautiful football for the third goal. It kind of like tick-a-tacker it was. It was, so we've got kind of a mix with our squad where we know that we're direct and that's our identity. But at the same time, we can get the ball down and we can play football. What we do, two main formations that we use. It's either a 5-3-2, two wing backs, and what we do is we kind of squash you in your own half, don't let you out, get you to play the game that we want to play. And then we also play a 4-4-2 with a diamond in the middle, where I think that's kind of been solely used to accommodate a lot of the midfield players we've got, because that's quite a competitive area of the pitch for us. So those are the two main formations that we play. That's our style. We just like to get in your face, really. We're a very fit group. We don't stop going to the last second, score a lot of last-minute goals. And that's it. We work very hard. We win our battles, and we do the simple things really well.
Yeah, I think it would be probably the latter of the formations that you will probably play tomorrow. I can't imagine you trying to get us pinned into our own half. I don't think. I can't envision that personally, but I mean, only time will tell. You are going down pretty well, Matt.
Yeah.
Whilst you try and sort your light out with
Sorry about that.
Brilliant.
There's currently 62 people watching live across the platform, so thank you very much for that. We had a few comments about you, Matt, as an individual. Actually, Brandon said this geezer is boss. So obviously that's a northern term, being that you are good in the most part. But also, Brandon's gone on to elaborate on that for you, Matt, and said, "I love this guy. I need his energy and enthusiasm." So, yeah.
Love that, Brandon. Thank you, buddy.
Testament to yourself. Chris, have you got anything else to add? Have you seen anything in the chat, anything worth discussing in terms of kind of how Stevenage are going to be setting up tomorrow? Now we might be able to combat that.
Not so much the way that they've set up. I think if you look back at the game at the Reebok, at the toss sheet, and you look at the stats, it's really interesting, because obviously we're known for having 70-80% possession. In some games it was a lot closer, 57-43. Passes wise, not much to call between the two teams in terms of number of passes or the pass accuracy. Fouls equal, so that alludes to the fact that, you know, it wasn't, Stevenage weren't overly physical. Obviously, going back to October, aren't we? So we've had a lot of football since then. But if you cast your mind back, it was a good. I mean, the scoreline reflects it, 3-2, and it was, you know, back and forth with Sheehan with the winner in the 70th minute. So I think one of the comments that did come up, which I liked, and I think is relevant, you know, look, we don't want to be blowing smoke up everybody's bum or anything like that, but let's have some credit here, you know what I'm saying? And Brandon, again, he's a feature tonight, is our Brandon. If Stevenage finish in the playoffs, Steve Evans, manager of the season? Question mark?
I think it's hard to argue against, isn't it, really? Really? Yeah. You know, let's think about, I know I don't really like this word, it's used a lot, but let's think about Stevenage's ceiling as a football club. Obviously, Matt, you'll be able to elaborate on this a lot better than myself, but, you know, where is your ceiling? Where should you be as a club? I think, you know, being in League One is fantastic, isn't it, really? If you can be mid-table League One consistently, you'd be over the moon with that. So to get in the playoffs and possibly get promoted, I mean, that would be a phenomenal achievement.
I think the thing with us as well, it's the journey we've been on, right? I mean, you know, in COVID, we were technically relegated out the Football League. We got a reprieve because Macclesfield couldn't pay their players. That's why we were kept up. And everyone forgets that. You know, we then stay up in COVID under Alex Ravella's manager. And then a year later, you know, we go through more managers than wins at one point. Steve comes in, 9 games to go. We're thinking, we're at the Football League. And by the way, this was just 2 years ago. He then gets us 4 wins from 9, keeps us up. Then just 1 year, not even a year of building a side. The summer later, he builds a promotion side. He gets us promoted, 2nd place. Then we come up to League One. Everyone goes, oh, they'll be down the bottom. He then gets us up the top of League One again and then starts talking about Championship football. I think, do you know what? I might be wrong. And there's probably other stories out there that I'm probably uneducated about. But I would say it's probably one of the greatest turnarounds from a bottom Football League side. I haven't known a side that has pretty much been relegated, got promoted the season later, then have pretty much made the League One playoffs the season later, I haven't known a story like it. So in terms of manager of the year, look, there's some great managers in the division. You've got managers who are going to win the team the league in Mousinho. You've got managers who are going to make the playoffs and get promoted. But in terms of having a manager of the season, in terms of what he's achieved and what we've done as a club and as a team, I would have Steve Evans right in that top 3 personally.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Right, so Matt, I know just to plug your preview show the other day that we did together, we had a good chat about the kind of injury suspension situation from your perspective. If you can have a little think about that whilst we delve into that in a little bit more detail. You can think along the lines of injuries, suspensions, all that type of stuff, obviously, including your gaffer, like you've spun already, won't be on the touchline tomorrow. What are you dealing with in terms of injuries and suspensions at the moment, Matt? Can you give us a bit of an insight into that quickly, please?
Yeah, of course, only a couple, really. Obviously, the manager's suspended just one more match for tomorrow for his, not antics, but he kind of breached his suspension in Peterborough away, pretty much. He was trying to speak to the bench when he shouldn't have been. Naughty Steve Evans, but that's Steve Evans. Really, the only kind of other suspension we've got is the captain, which is a big one for us because Carl Piagiani's been one of the defenders of the whole league this season. So he's got one more match that he misses, which is tomorrow, and then he's back for Easter Monday. Other than that, there's no more suspensions. Jamie Reid's back from international duty, which is massive for us, and he scored in that international duty period. And as of injuries, the only injury that we've really had of late is the goalkeeper, but apparently he's fully fit for Saturday. So Jake Forster-Kasky was another that picked up a knock last weekend, but he's trained all week. So in terms of injuries and suspensions, we've only got 2 players, one with Cole Piagiani and Tashby Hammond, who's come back. So there isn't a great deal of injuries or suspensions. So we should have pretty much a full squad. The only player is Cole Piagiani that's going to miss for the game tomorrow.
Piagiani is vital, though, just to touch upon that very quickly, Matt, to how you guys operate, I think, in terms of the way you play in the most part. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah, very accurate. I think what it is with Pidge is his dominance in the game. He's so dominant. He'll win all his headers. He'll dictate the battle at the back. He wins his battles pretty much all the time. He's so dominant. And I think his leadership as well is another thing that's quite underestimated from the way that we play. So, yeah, it's gutting that he's not playing. Although there are other players there. And this is the thing with our squad. Every player's a starting player. So even though Pidgeys are playing, he's that dominant. We've got Sweeney, Van Cooten, Nathan Thompson, who's a League One playoff player. Finley Burns, who, is at Man City, who's had a brilliant season, also can play there. So even though Pidge isn't there, there's really players that are good enough to play to the level and get a result. Yeah,
excellent. Chris, there's 84 people watching across the platform, so thank you very much for joining us on this Thursday evening. How are we looking? Can you give Matt and any Stevenage fans listening an insight into where we are? Obviously, the Bolton fans will be fully aware of the current situation. But yeah, can you give us a bit of an insight, my friend?
Sorry, I need to fold my arms for this one, don't I? And do a representation of Ian Evatt.
I was going to say, Steve Evans, if you're watching, get that notepad out, lad. Come on.
I think he'll be fully aware of that.
You ready?
Situation.
You'll be running out of ink. So we'll go with.
Listen to some of the names here, Matt.
Yeah, we'll go with some positives.
I'll try.
After a full season out, George Johnston is now back in full training. There is rumour that he will play before the end of the season, but that's been dismissed by Ian Evatt. I don't think there's any rush to get him back in. I think that would be foolish.
Yeah.
Daniel Lunderloo also very close to a return, probably more likely to play before the end of the season. Looking ahead to tomorrow, Dion Charles and Nathan Baxter. Unlikely to feature tomorrow. In fact, no, they won't, is what Ian Evatt said.
Very abruptly, may I add, Matt?
Yeah, but anyway, we'll move swiftly on. Caleb Taylor is close to a return. Calvin Ramsey could also feature. And we've had a clean bill of health from the from the guys who returned from international duty, apart from Dion, obviously. Zach Ashworth, Josh Sheehan, and the like. So it's looking a little bit more positive, but obviously the two real standouts being Dion Charles, our lead goal scorer, and Nathan Baxter, who's been phenomenal coming in between the sticks. So there you have it.
Yeah, just to touch upon a comment from Mark. He said, "Can you give me an update on Baxter and Charles, please?" We aren't that podcast, Mark. We aren't in the know. We're not. We know as much as you guys in that sense. All we can really do is just highlight the current situation for the people that aren't necessarily on social media who listen and watch the podcast. I guess that's kind of the main
What
reason.
I will say is, hang on, I'll get my phone out.
What's he doing here?
So, that was just before the Barnes
for Matt's benefit. That's a picture of Chris and our keeper, Nathan Baxter, by the way, Matt. Just for you.
Oh, bloody hell! There you go.
Yeah, he's not played since, Matt. Since that day, so I've obviously put some form of curse on him. So
you're the bad luck. There you go.
I am, mate. Yeah, I've jinxed the man. I've jinxed him. He'd had a brilliant season. So hopefully we'll see him before the end of the season. And if you're listening, get well soon, Dion and Nathan.
Absolutely. Right. Obviously, very, very mindful of the time. Very, very mindful of your time as well, Matt, more importantly, of joining us this evening.
Indeed.
But let's just have a little think about what you think the score might be. This isn't just Matt's segment and ours, of course, in the chat. If you want to get your predictions in, if you fancy doing it, we'll obviously bring them to view on the screen and highlight your thoughts ahead of tomorrow's fixture with Stevenage. But go on then, Matt, my mate. Give us a prediction.
Do you know what? So I gave a prediction on the pod that you came on, Cole, the other day. And I've changed it since. Ooh, and I feel bad for changing it. But I think tomorrow's going to be a fantastic game of football where there's going to be goals, right? And without pitch thrust, I think you'll get a goal or two, and I think it'll be a magnificent game. And I could see it actually being like a 2-2 to the latter stages. And I just really fancy big goal Reedy to come up with a winner right at the end. So I've changed. I'm going to stay with the boys. I've got to. I've got to. And I'm going 3-2. Jamie Reed in the 90th minute to get us a valuable 3 points. But I think it's going to be an unbelievable game. But I can't back the boys. I can't do it. I can't not let them go. I'm going 3-2.
100%.
Can't not back your own team. There's a lot of 2-1s going on in the chat.
Yeah.
There's currently 108 people watching, Matt. So I think a lot of that's because of you, to be honest. There's a lot of positivity going on in the chat. Thanks to you joining us this evening. Chris, what do you say, my friends?
I'm going to keep this one simple. I do agree with it. I think the rest and the break will energise a lot of areas where it had gone flat again. So forget all these injuries and stuff. There's going to be a full house on tomorrow with a full away end. I'm going to go a 3-1 Bolton. I think we're going to turn up tomorrow in a big way. I think there's 7 games to go. Let's have it. Yeah. So in the same vein as Matt, backing the boys, I'm going to go Bolton 3, Stevenage 1.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I did say on your podcast, Matt, that I think it'll be either we'll score early and then there'll be a bit of a floodgates job, and I think we'll get 3 or 4, or it'll be a tight encounter, and I'm sticking with the tight encounter. I think it'll be 2-1 to the Wanderers. But like you alluded to as well on your podcast, which I'm going to ask you to plug in a minute or two. You watched us against Oxford, didn't you? And you saw what can happen when we score early and when it clicks. So hopefully it'll be that, but can't see it happening. We have had a question from Marco for you, direct, Matt. He's asked, "Are you in an Asda car park?" No, you don't have to exclude you don't have to give us your exact location, but
all of the supermarkets are available.
But there are other supermarkets available.
Do you know what? I'm actually not. I'm in a normal council car park, and the the bar that we're in's just over there. So I'm just in that at the minute. And it's absolutely hammering it down as well. So
nightmare.
I'm just there at the minute. Do you know what? I've had a few people kind of look through the window, kind of going, is that the Fanzone pod he's on offer? But, you know, they're a very well-known platform, I feel like. But no, I'm in a council car park. I've paid my ticket, by the way, if there's any traffic wardens listening or whatnot. But, yeah, I'm in a council car park at the minute. Not exactly the most professional setting, I understand. But, yeah, that's
great job,
right.
mate. You played a blinder.
Sterling job. What are you drinking in the bar? I have to ask very quickly, if you don't mind, Matt.
Well, I'm normally a Peroni or Moretti type of bloke, but it's 2-for-1 cocktails tonight, so I might dabble in a cocktail or two. Do you know what I mean?
Very fruity, very fruity.
Nice, loving it.
I've had a question come my way from Channel 72, aka Jake, as you well know, Matt. He's asked me whether I've had a night off the Stella, and I am actually. I'm drinking a bit of orange juice tonight, Jake. So yeah, can't drink every night, every other. I don't advise on that. But yeah, thank you very much to everybody who's joined us tonight. 117 people across the platforms watching. If you can like, subscribe, that'd be so much appreciated. Matt, just ticked over half an hour. I'm going to let you shoot. But before you go, mate, can you plug your wonderful podcast and maybe tell the Bolton fans where they can listen to the preview your end, please?
Yeah, guys, look, the Stevenage Football Club podcast on Twitter at TSFC Podcast. It's pinned the podcast that we did the other day, the preview pod. Go and give that a listen. Cole was on. It was fantastic. And Andy, by the way, and the most fence-sitting person you could ever listen to on a prediction, by the way. So please go and listen. He's not the brightest spark in the box, Andy, but he's a lovely chap. We love him. So go and listen to that. And yeah, go and give us a follow. We've got episodes coming out like hot dinners at the minute because we're winning games in League One. Go and give that a listen. And I just want to throw something on there for the platform. And I'm calling it right now. Bolton are getting second place and going up. And we're going to win the League One playoffs. And we'll be there in the championship with them. So we'll be doing it again next season, chaps.
Well, if that happens, there's going to be a lot of happy people because in this chat tonight, it's been absolutely bouncing, Matt. And a lot of it is
everybody loves you, mate. Seriously.
You. We've had a message from Leslie. And Leslie said, whatever happens this season, can we have Matt back on the podcast? He is hilarious.
Would love to.
I have no issue with that.
No, we will probably look at getting some collaboration going on towards the end of the season, and no doubt we'll invite Matt back on for.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be quality.
But yeah, you've gone down very, very well tonight, Matt. You shoot off. Me and Chris will stay on for a couple of minutes, but we'll let you shoot. And yeah, thanks very much for joining us tonight, pal.
Guys, thank you so much. Best of luck, and good luck tomorrow night. I've loved it tonight. Thank you so much.
Nice one, mate. Cheers, Matt.
Look after yourself.
Amazing chat. See you later.
Cheers, pal.
See you later, pal.
Oh, flick to 2.
Flick to 2. Look at that. Wow. So thank you very much for everybody joining us tonight. Obviously, Matt's a fantastic guy, and obviously it's come across in that way. So yeah, top man. Right. So yeah, Chris, you're going down tomorrow.
I am. Yeah.
Got the old tickets available.
Yeah, I'll be there in a sold-out away end, as per the other side of me.
Massive credit, I guess, to all the Bolton fans that are making the long journey down to Stevenage tomorrow. Obviously, with all this. You've got more fans than us and we've got more fans than you and all that stuff. I always like to highlight, despite the banter that I kind of portray on Twitter, that's just a bit of a laugh, that. But in the most part, obviously, I always think that people spend a lot of money watching the football club and it deserves a little bit of credit from time to time. So well done to all the Bolton fans that have sold it yet out another away end down in Stevenage.
And we will be, as I say, posting the link for the incentive from Bolton Wanderers in the community to enter the 10K. So that will be going on our socials. So don't forget. Get on that. So
with that one, for the people, because I am mindful there's 129 people watching, and there wasn't at the beginning when we played the message from Ben. Ben's working really hard on this initiative to help Bolton Wanderers in the community because they do such a sterling job. I'm going to relay the message on for everybody still listening.
If you want to raise some money for some incredible causes, then keep listening. Thanks to the wonderful team over at Bolton Wanderers in the community. They've given us a nice little code that will reduce the price of a sign-up from £26 to £20 for their upcoming 10k run fundraiser. Now, the event registration closes in just 3 days' time, so you'll have to be quick. But if you head over to their website and use code FANZONE, you'll get yourself a nice little discount and you can raise some money for some incredible causes, for some incredible people right here in Bolton. If you want to make a difference, then get involved.
So yeah, we'll end on that because I think it's definitely the right thing to do. Wonderful show. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Come on, you whites, and yeah, we're going to be pushing some more pods out over the Easter break. Obviously, we need to kind of weigh up how we're going to do that because the logistics of it, as you can imagine, is a bit all over the place. But yeah, we'll figure that out, and it'll be all over the socials in due course. But yeah, once again, live show, very active, a lot of people watching. Like and subscribe, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks all.
You whites, come on, you whites.